Hi everyone, we have Emma Firestone here today. She has been a client of ours since the end of August, I believe. And yeah, she's a ghostwriter. We just wanted to hop on real quick and talk about her experience in the past couple of months. Today is December 19th, so we worked together for approximately 4 months, I'd say. But yeah, Emma, if you can introduce yourself and kind of let people know about a bit your experience and that kind of stuff, that would be amazing.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma Firestone. I'm 42 years old. I'm American and I live in Denmark with my Danish husband and my four children who are half Danish. And I am a ghostwriter and I also have another job. I'm an editor and I'm employed actually full time as a copy editor in an intergovernmental organization. So I came into this project. I guess, in brief, having recognized that, I'm reasonably good at this, and furthermore, because, or largely thanks to a few years that I spent in the field of executive search, which required a lot of market research and then cold outreach, I was not shy about speaking to new or prospective clients. But I did recognize that on account of the four kids, on account of the limited hours I had to give to this pursuit, I simply didn't have time to manage my own outreach. And furthermore, I was a bit concerned that I simply wouldn't be able to recognize clients based on, or potential clients for my service, which is memoir ghostwriting, or at least was initially. Therefore, I got a cold outreach from Dennis's team and I grabbed it, not knowing, of course, that this was exactly what I needed, but it was certainly it was a short and compelling pitch, and it sounded like, well, maybe they'll be able to advise me on and then execute the things that I don't know about and don't really want to or have time to do myself. What more do you want? So I began working with Dennis quite quickly after meeting him. He did a very sort of concise and sympathetic interview with me in which he demonstrated that he understood what I was asking for and reassured me that, his background, his experience, his tools, his team, he knew what to do. Essentially, my request was, I've got a service and I can't find the people, don't know how to get to the people who need it. And I was really going, are there any doctors? It's not quite niche exactly, but I work for physicians, medical professionals, hospitalists, etc. Um, and I was kind of like, is there anyone on the planet who would want this? And Dennis was like, yeah, don't worry. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
And you know what? Within so we started. You've got to write a bit about who you are, record a short pitch to prospective clients who have booked a call with you, so they get to know you a little bit and your service. Dennis and team put it online in a nicely, simple but professional looking website. Set up my Google Calendar so I could begin getting these booked calls sent to, you know, um, for me to speak to. And then, you know what? They just started going for it. And really within a week, I had lots of prospects. I had a high hit rate. Then it really became about what to say to these people and how to close them, and actually start earning money. And Dennis is extremely helpful with that as well. He does initial kind of sales training, onboarding service for clients, his clients, myself and others, where he explains, in a very sensible way, how it is one should frame and then direct a sales call. And it's not that I didn't know that, but Dennis made me understand a couple of things. And I think the really important one was that you know, I'm here to fix a problem that these people have. It's not like, it's not a broken leg, it's not an illness, it's not, where I need to remortgage my house, but it's a service, and they've presumably responded to my approach because they need it. So he really helped me understand how to not waste my time or their time, and, in a professional, discreet way, like, get to the point.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not gonna
and
lie though, you did do a great job with the proposals as well. So
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like
But I mean, but just the framing of, how one presents
yeah.
as as a provider of a service, and focusing on their problem was, to me, tremendously useful. So, okay. So we're fast forwarding a couple of months from this outreach, and I have basically had to request that we close phase one of my engagement with Dennis. I will pick it up again once I've learned a few more things, but I'm hitting the pause button because I am at capacity, if not beyond it. So what Dennis and team have done is gotten me, I don't know how many sales calls actually, but
I think I actually tracked this before the interview because I was
yeah,
curious, and it was based on our tracking sheet. It was 48 sales calls in 3 months of prospecting. So
yeah, man.
maybe that's like one less or one more or something like that, but that's pretty much like the number.
Yeah. And within those sales calls, of course, you get better, right? I mean, if you're starting from somebody who hasn't, got a lot of experience in selling oneself and packaging one's services and connecting quickly, uh, nothing helps you grow like some practice.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
I think even if I had not, in fact, closed some deals, I would have been really pleased at all of this training that I've gotten as a result of Dennis's efforts. But yeah, I've got some clients, and they're pretty good clients who are paying me beyond what I expected to be able to charge. And we're now at the point, then Dennis, you can kind of jump in and ask another question if you want, but I'm really at the point where I've had to think about how, exactly what kind of service I can offer to, I guess, optimize uh, the time that I'm putting into this, and how to get the most value out of what I'm offering. And
Yeah.
that's an incredible place to be in relatively little time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that business always should be treated as not necessarily a store, but kind of, because you buy products in a store, you buy like three different types of bread, right? And then after a couple of months, you analyze, well, what bread is selling, what bread is like getting mold on the shelves.
Yeah,
And then kind of adapt to the one that is selling, and you push harder on that, and maybe you even make that as your like exclusive product. So that's kind of the phase we need to go at next. Um, at the same time, yes, I think that you've had an amazing progress, and I know that you broke some limits, right, with the deals that you've closed and all of that.
yeah.
Um, so I'm curious about two things now that I think will be very interesting for the audience as well. So the first thing that I want to ask is, before starting to work with us, like, what was your experience as a ghostwriter specifically? Like, where were you on this ladder of experience? If
Yeah,
you,
not that experienced, actually. I had many years, I mean, between 6 and 8 years of having, of earning a living from, often among other things, professional editing. And
Mhm.
copywriting is not copywriting, ghostwriting is actually not, a million miles away from developmental editing, where you're taking something that is, either not readable or not fit to publish, and, you're cleaning it up. Um, but I had, in fact, very little experience in selling my service as ghostwriting. That is, in this scenario, you, the client, or the author, and I'm the writer.
Yeah.
So not much.
Okay. And now the golden question, right? So you didn't have 20 years of experience. You didn't have like 700 bestsellers on your back, right? Um, what did you end up charging your clients? And what was kind of a like a particular success story maybe you'd like to share with people from what you've generated through the collaboration together?
Of course. We started benchmarking selling a fully ghostwritten memoir at 30,000 US dollars.
Yeah,
Um, and I guess my particular success story, and I have in fact sold two manuscripts that are fully ghostwritten by me. One is for £25,000, which is for me a real success. That was my first closed deal.
yeah,
The other is a very extensively researched biography, the development of which will last over a few years. Biography with my name on it as an author. So not
crazy.
ghostwritten to mimic someone's voice. And I've been able to charge uh, $110,000
Yeah, unbelievable.
in US dollars, which is I think, in fact, justified by the scope of work. I really don't feel like I'm gouging anyone here. I feel as if, on reflection, when one considers, the time and the expertise and and everything that goes into providing the service that the customer requires, this is the right price. But I must say, I would never hint, I would really never in my life have imagined that, a couple months into presenting myself as a ghostwriter, I'd be able to sit here and put down that price and have someone pick it up.
Yeah, this is
So,
huge because you can't imagine how many people I speak with, and as a matter of fact, they have maybe more experience than you have as a ghostwriter. You know, like people that have been a journalist for 20 years, they've written 15 books, and they have this belief that they cannot charge more than 15K for a book, or that their price is not justified because they're not like Drake's
yeah,
autobiography writer, and it's crazy to me that when you actually put it out there with confidence and you know what you're selling and you know that you're good at what you do, people are going to feel that through the screen, through Zoom, and they're actually going to pay for it, right?
yeah.
So I guess what what pushed you in the direction of um, just taking the leap of faith and pitching that client? Because that's, I think, what's going to be very interesting for people to hear. Like, what was it that
Mm.
made you press the button and send the quote rather than kind of crumbling and asking for $10,000 for 10 years, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question, but I think again it had to do with this reframing that, I've been kind of training myself towards over the last few years in various ways, but that really kind of locked in for me when I heard Dennis's sales training. Um, we're not naming a price, according to what, writers are paid or something like that, or so many hours or so many pages, right? We are naming a price that reflects the value that the service provides to the customer.
Yeah,
And of course, that is not to say, well, so I think it was understanding how valuable this book delivered at the standard that the customer wanted would be to him
yeah,
and what would it would require of me by way of, investment of time, investment of skill, to deliver that book.
yeah,
And this really ended up seeming like, in fact, a very fair price. So I think it was certainly the shift from thinking about how much are my hours worth to how much value will this provide to the customer.
yeah,
And I would certainly not have been able to grasp that important difference had I not, again, heard what Dennis had to say and been able to get on the phone with people and understand what's valuable to them.
yeah. I love that answer. I definitely love the way you made the difference, and I think that's it. That's it right there. It's pretty much just stopping to, because as freelancers, like you're in this weird place where you're not an employee anymore, but you're also kind of not a business owner, because you're just doing it all by yourself. And sometimes you tend to fall back into mindsets that you acquired while you were a full-time employee. Like, how much do I charge an hour? How much do I make an hour? What is my worth in something, you know? But you never ask, like, what is my work generating, you
No,
know? And that's what I think people need to shift their perspective, and that's how prices increase. It's not by magically having someone tell you in your dream that, hey, you're worth 50K. It's like
yeah,
you going out there and proving that to yourself.
absolutely.
Um, so yeah,
And I mean, I'll say a couple of things. I mean, by way of promoting Dennis's services, we can think about the price that he asks for his service in the same way, right? What value is, whatever it is he's quoting a month, to me?
yeah.
As it turns out, the return on my investment in Dennis's services is 30x, right?
Yeah.
In terms
I
of,
hope I hope people don't think you're a paid actor from Fiverr, by the way, saying these things. Like,
no, I'm really not.
yeah,
It's ridiculous, in a way. Uh, and I would like to stress it's not because, I now have these numbers on my balance sheet going forward, right? And obviously I haven't received all of that revenue because I have some stuff to fulfill and to deliver. But, that's sort of what I've more or less locked in based on Dennis's work. And I I guess I would the investment on, my time is a lot. You've got to, I mean, in the sense of, once people express interest, you got to talk to them and you got to, think a proposal through.
yeah,
But the practice I've gotten, and really the market insight, the insight into what it is that this kind of, group that I didn't actually know much about needs,
yeah.
would surely have been worth it all on its own. So, thank you, Dennis. Great job.
Thank you for being an amazing client and just doing your part of the deal, because ultimately
Yeah,
if you would have had 48 people on the calendar but you wouldn't have put in the effort that you did to convert these, then maybe we'd still be at square one, and that's
sure.
important as well. Like, this is a done for you service that we do for people, but it's not done for you as in we bring the client to your door and like kick them inside your house so they work with you, right? It's
No,
you have to do
no.
this.
I mean, you got to go for it. You got to back yourself. You got to show up to prepared. And I
Yeah,
mean, in particular, once they, if you're not able to just name your price on the first call, and there were quite a few of these where, I asked for time to go and think about it, and then I would call them back, rearrange a call and try again. But, do your best work. Dennis is not, just, I mean, he's giving you the opportunities, and then you got to close them. But
yeah.
if you're ready to do that and you feel somewhere in there like you can, then I mean, do give it a try. Like you'll learn a lot.
Yeah. And I guess also something that I'm curious about, and I don't even know this because we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah.
But what were some of your hesitations or concerns before we started working together? Because if I remember correctly, we had the call, you kind of had
Mm.
to think about it, maybe
Yeah.
speak with your husband about it, and then you kind of messaged me and was like, "Hey, Dennis, I'm in." Like, what
Yeah. Yeah.
happened in between that time frame that made you pull the trigger?
Well, I think, again, I was considering what the value would be to me if this actually landed, or even partly landed. And I recognize that what this service was, the opportunity to find people wanting to talk to you, right? Was not really something that I could generate all on my own. Of course I could, but it'd be frustrating. And, it's a full-time job in itself. I didn't have the time. So I had to really think about kind of how quickly I wanted this to happen. And then I was also concerned that I, what got some clients, would I have time to talk to them? And what ended up or would I have time to talk to or work with them? And I guess this then comes down to I was questioning whether I was passionate enough about this,
Yeah,
right? It was a bit more of a hunch. It wasn't like, I came into this conversation being like, right, we're changing career or whatever.
yeah,
But I with some success or at least some like, inklings of potential success comes the motivation, right? Um, So the last 3 months have flown by, right? Because I've had so much to do, obviously, and so much to learn. But, if you're into what you're doing and you believe it, like it's very energizing to start sharing with people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the time aspect that you mentioned is very important, right? Because that's mainly why people start working with us.
yep.
And I want to ask you on that note, like working with us and having this kind of ecosystem, was it more manageable for you as as you said, like full-time
Mm.
employee with 4 kids and
Yeah,
whatnot?
yeah. I mean, well, look, it's worked out, so yeah, I guess it was. It was not, I mean, I would not say it was not intense. I mean, it's been an intense few months, but frankly, if you're gonna like start up a business, it's gonna be intense anyway. Nothing will kind of excuse you from the intensity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not that I think my takeaway is, being a freelancer, running a business on one's own, like there are only 24 hours in a day, you need to sleep or you'll crash. So, let's say you have only so many working hours and you can give 100% and you can't give more, right?
Yeah,
None of us can. So, what are you going to outsource? And um, in this case, this was something that I felt pretty comfortable about outsourcing. And perhaps if you are sort of an arty, nerdy type that is either a little shy about reaching out to people or just doesn't feel like you can manage, outreach and call sequences, because you'd rather think about packaging your writing proposals and actually writing, this is the thing to outsource.
yeah. I always say this to clients. It's always the same 24 hours in a day. So you
Yeah,
can either like intensely keep doing what you're doing and potentially stay stuck, right? Because of the time constraints, or you can intensely focus on doing something that you know is going to move the needle because
yeah.
like there's still going to be work. I'm not saying that by working with us, people will just be able to sit back, relax, and watch movies all day and money's going to come in the
No,
account,
no,
right? Like,
no, really. But I mean, I mean, back to that thing about you've also got to sleep, or you'll crash at some point. I mean, growing a business is a big deal and it's challenging, and some way or other you're going to pay for it, right? I just think, why not pay Dennis or someone like that, to do some of it, because you move yourself, or you give yourself the chance to move yourself much quicker towards your goal. um
that's it.
and I mean, for me, it's been really, I mean, I feel very, very lucky, Dennis. I don't know what came up on my profile, but you reached out to me, and it's really, it's been a turning point in my
Yeah.
professional life.
Honestly, like this is also important that you mentioned it because truthfully speaking, there was probably nothing special with the profile, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we pretty much like that's the thing. Anyone that has this type of service and they want to scale to the next level, they want to delegate prospecting, like they can do it. As long as they have your type of mindset, beliefs, and ambition to do it, then they can do it. Like they don't need to have a an influencer profile on LinkedIn or anything like that, you know? Like
yeah,
it's not really that difficult. It's just about
yeah,
pulling the trigger and being ambitious. But
totally.
I want to be respectful of your time because I know you're leaving for a trip here
Yeah,
shortly.
thank you.
So as a kind of a way to wrap this up, what would
Yeah.
you say to someone who's considering joining right now? Maybe they have the call with me, maybe they already had the call, but they're kind of thinking about it. What would you say to them, just like from a heartfelt position?
Dennis and his team provide incredible value for the service. They do exactly what they say they're going to do. They know what they're talking about. And in the best way, they show that this is not that complicated, right? If you're trying to find people to buy your service, it's about volume of outreach, and it's about the snappiness, the precision, the targetedness of one's pitch. And
Yeah.
after that, it's about being responsive, on top of timing, following through. This is not complicated, but it's time consuming. You need a team. Almost certainly you need a team. Given that you need a team, one way or the other at some point or another, choose this one.
Yep. Okay. Thanks a lot, Emma. This has been an
Man.
amazing interview with a lot of helpful insights, and yeah,
Cool.
I'm glad that you could take the time today to chat.
Yeah, it's really my pleasure, man. Thank you.